am so sorry, Oshin, if I am cutting you off right now, but I may have lost audio of you, so
I
please
muted
take us
and
through.
I'm an idiot. I'm muted because I needed to sneeze and I did not
trolling me,
unmute. I
man.
am trolling. I am trolling everyone right now. I'm trying not to sneeze on broadcast because it's so annoying. But I'll try my best to make sure I do not do that any more times. But yeah, back in the draft. Aphelios gone. I was mentioning in my silence that Aphelios was his 3 picks against JDG, something that he's very comfortable with for Abel, and he's not going to get it this series.
Yep. Absolute chaos to start of the series, and I'm loving it, Oshin. Couldn't be doing it without you. But the Rumble is going to get hovered by AL. I mean, this is something very expected from Shanzi. Definitely just a little bit of a BM, but the Zeri naturally going to get locked in. I mean, a jungler could also perhaps be considered here. The Gragas, we have been seeing this flex to all 4 lanes. I mean, specifically in the jungle, I do prefer it there because you are able to go full AP, and that's just a big bomber for you.
Get the Bomba going if you can get it there, but the Wukong does set up some very nice engaged set of kind of priorities for the side of OMG. They have been very, very, honestly, just very set up in their ways of saying, we're going to lock in something for Aki. As long as we get something for Aki, we don't really mind what happens in bot lane. I think during the IG series for OMG, we saw 580 carry bans go towards that bot side, so we'll see what they end up trying to like prioritizing here. And this is the thing with OMG. I was just going to say, they have no problem locking in all their solo laners right now because the Rumble Yone combination is something they love.
I love Shanzi so much. He's definitely one of the most exciting top laners to watch in the LPL because he just doesn't care. He blinds the Rumble, doesn't care what ZDZ is going to pick. Something more like the Jax where he is comfortable and it is most played. But Cream on this Yone, definitely a big reason why they were able to get a lead up against JDG in that series in particular, where I think OMG really depend on Cream having that side lane pressure, where Abel and PP Gold, although they have been also performing well, I think Cream is definitely the star of the show for tonight.
Absolutely, and Cream has been just kind of silently bringing up his kind of setup right now as, ooh, a set locked in here now for ZDZ, I would imagine, going up to that top side. Good engage options, good ways of kind of punishing Sanji if he does end up walking too far forward. Should that go into the top lane, could be a mid lane set as well, or even a support set, to be perfectly honest. Plenty of diversity available across the board. Exactly, any mid could be a thing here. We've seen plenty of weird and wonderful things throughout the LPL. This would not be a strange one for us, but coming back into this one here, we can see that AL, they've locked in effectively what is a solid bot lane combination. They're kind of getting rid of anything that can be a threat to the Zeri, so the Nautilus kind of gets rid of that Nautilus Draven combination, and OMG are saying, cool, we're going to go through our plan as we always do. It doesn't matter what you ban against Abel and PP God, we got our solo laners, and that's the top half that we're going to try and work towards and get the advantages from.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what type of ADC OMG is really going to go for in this particular instance, as a lot of them have been taken off the board. I mean, only Ashe and Caitlyn and Jhin is being left open for the side of Abel, but the jungler for AL still a very big question mark, as you are up against something like the Wukong. I mean, we haven't seen an Elise ban just quite yet, and I have been loving the Elise pick, something that just gets you ahead early and something that is very proactive. It has been taken off, but, you know, it is okay because we have been seeing a lot of Lee Sin for Xiaohao, and I don't want to be disappointed.
Don't want to be disappointed, but maybe we might be in store for a little bit of shenanigans right now. This could be just straight up a Lilia jungle. I broke the cardinal rule of not talking about hovers until they are officially locked, so I got baited on that particular one, but
Ooh,
see, I do think that the Maokai or any kind of AP jungler makes a lot of sense coming into this one here, because you are looking at the team comp at the moment and saying, like, there's not really a huge amount that you can go with if that is a set mid, so you want to make sure you're getting the best of whatever you can get right now. And all the way down this draft, it's a very curious thing, because in the LPL we are seeing it more and more.
No.
The Lucian Nami is just kind of off the side, and it is only because we're seeing things like the Aphelios, the Xayah, and even the Nautilus taken off the board that it has to come down to this side of the draft.
I thought we escaped the Lucian Nami meta now that we are in patch 13.4. LCK is still very much enjoying the Zeri Lulu Lucian Nami type of matchup in bottom lane. However, Lucian has become a lot weaker as all of the meta ADCs are extremely long range and they just scale so good into the late game. This is going to be a Jace hover for that last pick. Probably going to go into the hands of Pinzy as he is going to have an aggressive matchup up against Cream. And I think the most important thing is going to be about this mid-jungle duo where we saw excellent things from Aki in that JDG series. So as long as he's able to get that tempo on early up against something like the Maokai where he hasn't picked up his items just quite yet, OMG, I mean, they look very comfortable with how the draft went.
Yeah, I think, again, like, they're very happy with the engage they have available to them. The wombo of the Fate Seal, the Equalizer, the Cyclone with the Tidal Wave. It's a mash of Earth, Wind, and Fire coming in at every different angle. And it does feel like both teams have got very good ways of starting a fight, but it is going to be about who gets caught out first. Really is going to depend on what way these fights turn out.
Yeah, Shandy locking in this Rumble for, I believe, the third time of this season where he has picked up 2 wins. Every time he just gets absolutely camped out of his mind in that top lane, but he still manages to scramble his way back in through these team fights, especially in the jungle where Rumble just acts so well with that ultimate available. But Lucian Nami, once again in the hands of Abel and PP God. We've been talking about this where Abel, he is that Samira player, but it wasn't going too successful here for him. So it's really nice to see him go back to the default of the meta where it is going to be Lucian and Nami trying to look for that mid-game spike and really get things online for the Yone to apply pressure in the side lane.
Well, both teams locked and loaded. Very much needed here for AL. I feel like if they lose this, you are resigning yourself to really not making it to playoffs. I don't think it's mathematically impossible, but it's definitely not probable for them to be able to make it out. For OMG, as we mentioned earlier, trying to get higher and higher in the standings. You face against our bottom 2 teams in the standings in Anyone's Legend and Fun plus Phoenix in this week. So you need to be building and riding that momentum. We'll see what they're able to do. OMG with pure comfort, Anyone's Legend with some of the OPs. And we are already seeing some early shenanigans towards this bot side. No ward at the moment for either side, but it's a full-on invade coming into now on this bot side.
Definitely getting some vision onto this red buff just to spot out how Aki is going to part this game. But I'm pretty surprised that Ale has decided to opt into the Maokai as he has received a slight nerf alongside Elise, still very high priority. But, you know, Gragas has been seeking back into the meta for a reason, and that's because he acts as a wonderful solo AP. That's definitely something that Ale is lacking, so it's going to really depend on how Xiaohao gets his items online and they're able to maneuver around those saplings for these major objectives.
We'll see where everyone kind of wants to focus right now. We do see some early vision being put down by Shanji on that red buff, so he's going to have a fairly decent idea of where Xiaohao is going to be starting. Cream just getting a little bit of stacks going for himself.
You're so low, Cream!
Yeah, well, he just wanted the stacks, you know? It's all about the stacks. And he didn't even use the stacks. I think it was more just to stop Pinzy from pinning him back behind his tower.
He's already getting pinned back, though.
I don't claim to understand it. Yeah, I don't claim to understand the methods. I just observe them and tell the loving public what's happening.
Yeah, even though Doran Shield has received a slight nerf, I believe the passive healing went from 6 to 4. So even though Cream was just trying to get some stacks on that Q from the Raptor camp, he is going to heal it back up with no problem at all. But this ward placed earlier by Ale is going to spot out Aki, where they do notice that the monkey is going to clear up as he started this bottom side.
Well, level 2 hit by the OMG bot lane, and immediately you can see they're just being aggressive, being annoying, as the Lucian Nami combination does tend to have this one here. And I wanted to kind of ask you as well, we obviously have seen a massive deprioritization on the Lucian Nami, and I wanted to kind of pick your brain as to why we're seeing teams kind of maybe move away from that particular duo.
Yep, so Lucian Nami has received a slight nerf in terms of the mana pool, but I think with the current meta being a lot tank-centric with the Scion and with the full tank Gragas, a lot of Roa champions like Sylas and Annie in the mid lane, well, Lucian just doesn't have the damage to kill something like that and also doesn't have the range, so he's really struggling to kill the topside carries. But very aggressive play from Shanji, most likely forcing a flash here perhaps.
Oh, Shanji will have the scrap shield to keep himself relatively healthy. Needs to be careful there with the Let's Kiss coming in, bringing him underneath the tower. I believe that is the unofficial name for it. But I feel like they missed an opportunity with that. It definitely felt like it could have been a little bit better, a little bit more fun with it with Seth, but not to be for the moment. We do see just kind of generally what we expected to see. Yeah, I just call it like let's kiss or now kiss is what I say, because normally it's like you're bringing, you know, like two different people together. It's like now kiss. just thinking about that. But I was just gonna say, like, you know, we're seeing the laning phases kind of go exactly as we expect them to. No one's really coming out on top. I will say Cream will have to burn the TP just to make sure he's still relevant. But Aki's getting himself up towards this top side, and this is ZDZ without a ward, really, any kind of vision. So he's got to be very aware right now that this is not something he can push in. You can see it right now, ZDZ. He knows something might be up, so he has to just kind of concede that the wave's just really in a bad position.
Yeah, Aki did dodge that ward perfectly in place in the river by ZDZ, but this wave is looking so terrible as it is going to get frozen in a matter of seconds. But we need to talk about how Shandy does have the Ignite, I guess, advantage when it does come to the 1v1 or perhaps even a 2v1, as Aki did get spotted from the bot side, pathing towards that top side. We saw a response play from Xiaohao trying to get something as a return, but OMG having their wards placed very nicely did spot him out as well.
Slow early game right now. This has kind of been a staple, honestly, for OMG. This is something that we've been seeing from them, is that they're accruing their advantages not from just mindless kills, not just from forcing skirmishes. They are just picking lane dominant carries and forcing stuff forward. Swordart does land the stun, forces the cleanse out of Abel, and you can see there when Abel not able to move forward as aggressively, does end up getting punished quite effectively. But yeah, OMG, they're happy with these kind of states of games because they know that they're going to be able to kind of move around the map smarter, and that's kind of been OMG in a nutshell throughout this split so far.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm not too sure if OMG is happy with burning two summoners in that bot lane trade. A kill perhaps in this mid lane is going to get diffused out as Xiaohao didn't have the range to get a root off. But this Lucian and Nami already having the cleanse and heal getting taken off in a mistake engage, I suppose, because you didn't really burn anything and the Lucian was out of mana, which was a huge effect of just the nerfs coming into patch 13.4. So Swordart on this Annie can perhaps look for a play as Xiaohao is pathing towards his bot side and really shut down Abel before he gets those items online.
I'd like to see where everyone kind of goes right now. Shanji with pretty decent idea that the jungler...
Shanji. Oh.
Yeah, classic Rumble proxy farming. But Aki now in a 1v3 at the moment. Could be a 3v3. Aki probably going to have to flash here. Doesn't have access to the Cyclone, so can't really make anything work. And this is the thing. You look at OMG's composition. We talked about the wombo of their level 6s. It is very much they can't really make anything else happen until level 6. They don't really have any CC outside of the Aqua Prison, so they are just sitting here waiting until they hit level 6s across the board.
Yeah, most definitely. And that also goes into the same, I guess, situation that AL is in, as you do really rely on the Maokai ultimate coming online for these major objectives. But I think OMG, they really need to fight around these chokes as we approach the major objectives, because you have something like the Cyclone, you have something from Shanzi, which is going to be the Rumble ultimate. So if they're able to get these onto Betty while he's immobile, I think it's going to be huge for the side of OMG. But AL, if they are able to play with their space properly, I mean, you have a Jace, you have a Zeri, and you're able to create the space between the carries of OMG, I think if they're able to just, I guess, kite them out, it will be very comfortable for AL to be in.
We're gonna wait, Kitty.
I'm
it's slow,
waiting.
it's steady, it's kind of boring, not gonna lie. As we wait to see where we go. And honestly, I was gonna think, I was like, okay, you know what? Everyone's hitting level 6s. Maybe we'll see it engage. Probably not. We're probably actually gonna see a trade of the Rift Herald and the Dragon, if anything. So I'm not holding my breath for any kind of action to happen right now. Both these teams seem very content to just take the laning phase as it is. It is equated to literally nothing of an advantage for either side. Lanes are picking up advantages in some ways, and yeah.
I'm pretty surprised that Abel just got out of a lane burning cleanse for absolutely no reason, and Ale didn't take an advantage for this. You did have the Annie flash available, so I would have expected to at least a regank from Xiaohao, but something or a big problem about these teams that are to the lower end of the standings is that they're very scared to make plays. They're very hesitant, and that does just make them or force them to play standard, where sometimes when you do get to those major objectives or major fights, you just can't out-mechanic the enemy team, because talking about LPL mechanics, I mean, they have some of the best in the entire world, so it really becomes a struggle for these bottom end teams.
Look, Kitty, you're coming up to the end of your first full regular split. As I'm gonna try caster curse it now by talking off topic. Oh, here we go. Shower Hu cuts down the ultimate. Level 6 used. Flash just getting burned by PP God to make sure he does not get hit by the oncoming roots. And everyone from AL should be able to move back down towards this thing. And we're going to see a trade, as I suspected, I imagine, for the Dragon in favor of the Rift Herald. But yeah, come back to my point. You're near the end of your first regular split. You've obviously been doing LCO as well on the side and stuff like that. You've actually been streaming as well. You've been doing a lot this particular spring split. So how are you finding it so far? What's been your favorite moments and also maybe your most difficult kind of transition, I suppose?
Ooh, most difficult
interview with Kitty.
I'm getting interviewed now. Well, it definitely is a lot of fun joining the LPL this year as part of the team, and it is officially my first year as a shoutcaster, so it's definitely a challenge, but I am more than for it. And I think my favorite, or at least the show or the star of this split, was JDG versus Weibo, where I was just on the edge of my seat. I wasn't casting it, but just as a little JDG fangirl, I was just shaking with excitement as they lost up against OMG. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, it was a great series, great game. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Great to have you on the team. Of course, we've had Jamada and Nymera join us full time. It's been great for seeing those guys come on as well. Lots of new faces as Ox and Dagda left. We did see Sword Art having to use his flash there to make sure he does not die. And the cleanse was traded back again. So again, small summoners being taken either side by either team. No one really gaining any huge amount. But I will say that with level 6s being hit and no cleanse in that bot side, we should start to see a bit more pressure being put down by the AL bot lane.
Yeah, most definitely as we approach mythic items very soon. Shandy getting a lot of damage into ZDZ here. Forcing the flash out.
Yeah, he ignited. ZDZ knew if he took one more overheated auto attack, we could have definitely seen a bit of a bad situation, but AL not to be outdone. Xiaohao in this bot side knows there's no tidal wave, knows there's no cleanse, but a heal and a flash is available. They're not going to go for it just yet, so everyone just kind of backs themselves away. Again, little small inklings of maybe a bit of pressure here, a bit of pressure there, but it's not leading into anything significant for the moment.
I'm gonna be real with you, Oshin. We do have scaling options for both OMG and AL, but if you think about it, the Yone and the Rumble, once they get their hands onto someone like Betty, I mean, you are just an ADC, I mean, poor ADC without any peel coming to this, not like a Lulu or a Thresh, so definitely going to be a huge struggle if this Yone gets out of control, especially getting all the resources from the side lane once these towers break. But we already see this top lane matchup down 30 CS, burning that flash as well. Shandy definitely having a very fun time blinding this Rumble.
Yeah, having a pretty decent time of it, about 25 or so CS up at the moment. Hasn't really been doing it, but I will say ZDT's plan taking the set wasn't really to win the laning phase. You don't pick anything, there's very little, to be perfectly honest, that will win a laning phase into the Rumble. So he's not really looking for that particular kind of setup. What he's looking to do is he's looking to be an initiator, someone who can dive in on the backside, catch out maybe the Lucian or even the Yone, and stop them from getting on top of the Zeri. That's kind of his plan and his setup. So as long as he has a Score Drinker in relative time alongside the Night Harvester of Shanji, that's all he really needs to be doing. That's item parity as such, as we love to say this around these parts. But no one has dropped the Rift Herald just yet. Azaki maybe looking to try and drop it into mid lane. There's no real good opportunity for him to do it, but with only a minute 40 left on those plates, he's got to drop it soon.
Alright, Oshin, I'm gonna give you a tough question. When do you think we're gonna see First Blood this game? Because we have a lot of summoners being burnt, but not a lot of action.
First Blood? What was our latest First Blood this split, I wonder? Like 16 minutes. Everyone's like, oh my god, am I watching LCK or something? But to be fair, I think the meta has just died down a little bit with Aphelios and Zaya coming back into the meta. Everyone's just trying to CS and get those items online where... Ooh, an ultimate from Xiaohao, however. Yeah, he's going to pop it in. There's the ultimate back in. Great bubble to stop everyone from moving forward. And there's First Blood. You called for it. You shall get it. The TP comes in from Cream, but it doesn't really do anything else after that. So, successful gank by AL. They get themselves the kill on bot side, and most importantly, they get onto Betty.
Finally, some action, Oshin, as the first blood goes into the hands of Betty, like you said, putting the Zeri significantly ahead, as Aki is going to make up for that gold as we see the Herald being dropped for Shanti, and he's going to have a bang over time picking up that Dark Harvest very soon, but they did just focus down on PP God as he did have to burn Flash in the first 2v2, forced out of Sorta, and naturally AL follows up with this play from a hard engage as Xiaohao did just place that ultimate towards the bottom side. We're gonna see a replay where Xiaohao was just dodging the vision as Sorta was trying to clear out this tri-bush as they catch PP God off, I guess, focus. The ultimate does land onto PP God without that flash available. I mean, I think he should have used the tidal wave upwards since you are going against someone like the Maokai. It just doesn't really matter. He doesn't have that flash to get away, and it was just poor positioning in the very end.
A little bit of poor positioning without the flash available for PP God. Good timing by AL as we do see more TPs being used. Gold still pretty much dead even. I also a little small note before we get this Dragon potential fight in 20 seconds time, but I actually like that Shanji didn't take any of the gold from the plates on top side because Aki kind of made a call and said, hey, I'm gonna have Divine Sunder if you give me this 175 gold. So they let him have it. He got the Divine Sunder and he's able to pick that one up maybe just before this fight. Aki moving forward. They are pushing in to make sure they can get a little bit more control. It is difficult for the moment, but they know that the Dragon is being started. They know it's being focused down. Aki will take a little bit of poke. These saplings are starting to do work. The no demonic embrace just yet. TP from EDZ, and they actually have Xiaohao as well, but there's going to be a full engage coming out. The tidal wave is good to disengage. Aki forced the flash away. Flash in forward. They're going to try and burn down onto Aki, and they will get him. Sword Arc does not fall just yet. Now he does as Rumble comes out on the backside of this one here. Abel trying his very best to survive, but Betty picks himself up his second kill. And OMG, I'm just not quite sure what the plan was there. The Dragon was dead. You didn't need to go for anything.
Yeah, very messy communication as the Dragon was already dead, just like you said, Oshin. So the play was just to leave as you trade for the Herald that is going to be spawning in 10 seconds. However, they opted into it as they didn't expect ZDZ's flank TP from the bottom side, and they realistically just got sandwiched in this team fight. But the Dragon falls here as the Maokai ultimate only roots one person, but with ZDZ coming from the flank, he just gets another carry into the fight, where this fight just wasn't really well played from OMG. They're very scattered as Shanti only just joins the fight. He does pick up a kill for himself, but a 2-for-1 trade where you could be going for the Herald. Definitely a bit of a messy fight, to say the least.
Messy, scrappy, and this is kind of what we were talking about, you know, OMG coming off of the back of winning against of JDG, and now we're looking at them against AL, our second last team in the standings, and they're not really having the same kind of power, not really having the same kind of presence that we have you know, come to know and see from these guys. So really hard to know what way to kind of rank this particular team as we come in towards later side of the split. Aki will take up the second Rift Herald, so again, you could have traded that back, wouldn't have been a big issue. ZDZ moving himself towards this backside and seeing if he can maybe make a bit of a play. Does have his flash and his ultimate back up, so he's moving forward onto this, seeing if he could be a bit more of an engaged tool for plenty of hard CC available as well for the side of AL. You can see just kind of like all the different ways they got available to them to be able to try and lock up a single person or even a group of people and punish them down.
You already see that Cream is getting a bit fed in the side lane as he is becoming an absolute nuisance, where both junglers have to put their attention in this Jace vs Yone matchup in the top side. But with the Dragon fight going into the hands of AL, I think it really revives ZDZ with how the early game laning phase went, although Shanti is still up a little bit of gold. A fight's going to ensue.
Yeah, fate sealed and Xiaohao goes down. That's the combination. We only saw a little taster of it there, of the ultimates being used in tandem. Aki and Cream doing very well to get that for themselves and their team, but there's only a little bit of something for the moment. No real objective to take until the Dragon and Baron spawn in 2.5 minutes time. So again, little moments here, but OMG seems to be waking up slowly but surely. Similar to me a couple of hours ago for Tech Check, they needed time to wake up before they really knew what was going on. Speaking of what's going on, PP God, he doesn't want to use that flash, but he does have to use the tidal wave. So now we're going to see a full flash engage coming in here. PP God flashes, he heals, and he still goes down. Betty slides and glides over the top. to try and make something work, but you've invested 4 people towards his top side. Mid lane's all on its load, so that's going to go down.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough from PP God. He was just really holding onto that flash for the very last second, burning the set flash as a return. However, this mid-tier 1 is going to fall into the hands of OMG. But, I mean, ZDZ is really reviving back into this game, finding angles from these skirmishes in the side lane. I thought OMG had their eyes onto PinZ, but with AL reacting very fast, they rotated both the top laner and support. Usually you see the jungler, but Xiao got caught off. So ZDZ realistically just acting as a jungler and catching these people that have been mispositioning in these side lanes.
I will say, you did use your flash there from ZDZ, and yes, you did get 2 summoners off of PP God and of course the kill, but you're not going to have that for a minute's time when the dragon does spawn, so we'll see if that does end up having a significant impact, but that's kind of the way they want to play these fights. They want ZDZ to be going in aggressively, using that ultimate to make sure he can get something going for his team, and then maybe make something here. PinZ, he's going to take a tower shot as well. He will not die because he's got himself a knockback, but needs to be very aware that he's not going to be taking too many fights against this Yone as longer this game goes on. The lethality into the crit, you tend to see crit win out more often than not.
Yeah, most definitely. I think crit is probably one of the most ridiculous RNG factors that we have in the game, but this dragon is going to be spawning in 20 seconds as OMG, they don't seem like they're going to rotate, as this is the 3rd dragon, also a mountain soul for this game in particular. So I think if OMG, I mean, if they want to just go for the tier 1 tower, not too many problems as you are playing towards this Yone and getting him online in the side.
Well, still 10 seconds till that spawns. They've got Shelly, and she'll be able to get her head smashed into that one there. Xiaohao using his ultimate. Decoy does end up doing its job, soaks up that. Now you don't have the ultimate of the Maokai really to kind of set this one up. ZDZ is spotted on a ward, so they know exactly what he's trying to do. He doesn't have flash, and he's not going to be able to make himself over the wall and catch somebody unaware. Both mid laners are in the top lane. 20 minutes on the clock, and this could be a pivotal fight, Kitty. This could be the decider between if AL get themselves to the soul point and if OMG are able to get themselves kind of ahead in this game. PP God now being forced back onto ZDZ, who goes straight in on top of him. He gets tidal waves off. He does get the haymaker, and it does just that. Knocks PP God out, but an equalizer comes off to stop the retreat. The top laner has been traded. Abel needs to flash away, but Betty is chasing him. But the fate sealed, and Betty gets caught out. He was just too far forward. The dragon hasn't even been started yet, Kitty, but Cream is hunting for more. He wants blood. He wants more kills, and he knows he can find them. You can see him there. He finds PinZ, not going to be able to get the knock up, and we'll just go straight back to his soul.
This game is so chaotic, exactly with how the stream started. I mean, Cream definitely getting online with this Yone and ZDZ trading 1-for-1 with PP God, but Betty specifically in that team fight eating forward into the hands of OMG, where he pretty much just gave a free kill over, and that's your ADC dead. And especially if you have to play around the poke from PinZ, I mean, you're just playing way too fast, and you have to wait for the damage from this Jace. We see the 1-for-1 trade from PP God, which is a support for tank, so I would take that for the side of OMG, but this choke was very terrible for AL to walk into. As Shanty gets a pretty nasty ultimate onto all the members here. But look at Betty, he goes in, gets cycloned, and he flashes and doesn't get the kill onto Abel. And Cream notices this and instantly ults him as well.
I mean, the big thing as well is that you can see there that the equalizer doesn't do a lot of damage, but what it does is it completely separates the rest of AL. They have to commit flashes, they have to commit any kind of, you know, escape tool that they would not maybe want to try and keep in reserve to break the distance, and people like Sordar and PinZ just weren't able to kind of break that distance. So Betty found himself completely isolated, not able to join up with his team, and pays the price. So now, coming back into live, it's a dragon, it's a 2,000 gold lead, and it's OMG with 2 items on their big carries, and Cream, he's going to jump on the ZDZ here, and ZDZ is not going to be able to do a huge amount because Cream's already got himself the Bloodthirster, so he's just really unkillable in a 1v1.
Roshin, I hope you're going to get used to seeing this, as we have been seeing a resurgence of Immortal and BT coming into patch 13.4 with the buff on overheal. The shield is absolutely redonkulous, and Cream is just going to have another health bar when it does come to the 1v1 duels on the side. But with Cream picking up his second items, also a lot of second items coming online for OMG, also denying the 3rd Dragon Soul point for AL, giving an extra 5 minutes for them to breathe. I mean, this mid game is looking in favor of OMG. I'm really happy that PP Go traded 1-for-1 with ZDZ.
Yeah, sorry, just Shanji with a Bit of a bad ult there on the equalizer. It's a very short cooldown. You have a couple of upsies if you really want to. Ooh, Sword Art. Nearly gets taken out there, at least very, very low. Does hold his flash for the moment, and Stair Gauge picked up by ZDT as he goes back out onto the map. But now we're starting to see the gears turn right now, Kitty.
Ow.
We're seeing OMG getting a lot of pressure around the map, and they seem to be coming out on top in a lot of these small little skirmishes.
Yeah, we've been setting up OMG as that mid-jungle duo. Cream is the focus for this game as he loves his silent champions. An engage from the side of OMG, not going to find too much as AL does defuse this, but Cream just applying so much pressure as no one realistically can face up against his Yone now as he is picking up his items. I mean, Pinsy definitely struggling, also ZDZ not having a lot of damage in terms of his build. He's realistically only going to find those angles onto carries of OMG, and hopefully they get a pick before a straight up 5v5.
Well, 5v5, 5 for 5 in terms of the kill scores right now. 2 minutes till the Dragon spawns. Baron is on the table. Both teams take it extremely quickly. If they do want to try and turn and burn for that, having the AD mid laners alongside the AD carries does make that a nice little setup. You do have Betty picking up his bladed, or super bladed, the Bloodthirster. As get a little bit of shielding going for him. It's the new build that you end up kind of going with right now. As OMG trying to see if they can find any kind of other advantage right now. We'll say Shanji is 6 stacks on his Dark Seal, so definitely feeling confident at the moment. If he gets it up to 10, he could definitely look to try and turn that into a Medjai's Soul Stealer, and that's when the game starts to get really, really tentative for AL, but all those stacks will be gone in the blink of an eye if you're not careful. So AL going back, trying to pick up as much items as they would like. They would love to have the Radiant Virtue, or first, not the Radiant Virtue, the
Even Shroud?
Mythic, yes, thank you. The Evan Shroud picked up here for Xiaohao if they could, but it is going to be a tough one with only a minute till Dragon. I can see OMG really hard forcing this. Cream's already level 15.
Yeah, I mean, these two side laners are just getting absolutely out of control for the side of OMG, but that goes back to my point about Betty in these team fights where he is going to be the main focus for OMG to shut down, as he does have the Immortal Shieldbow and BT coming online, also picking up something like the IE as his third eye. Not just there quite yet, but if Betty is able to play slower and he doesn't just run in for no reason, I think AL, they need to play with that space, because we saw how it went the last time. Pinsy already getting the poke down. They really need to utilize the poke.
Oh, Shanji not need to be there. He's going to try and flash away. He does have the scrap shield doing work, but there's going to be enough damage coming down. The Fate sealed, and Cream comes in to pick up a counter kill. So 1 for 1, they get the TP out of ZDZ as well. Shanji flashed and ignited, doesn't really do much else for him. Still has the equalizer in 30 seconds till he spawns back, but again, Pinsy died as well. So it's a 4v4 until both of these solo laners are back in the mix.
We need to remember that Pinsy does have that TP available, so they can be back for a 4v5 with that numbers advantage. However, no ultimates available for both Soda and Xiaohao, so it's going to be a bit hard zoning off OMG. This is going to be the third Dragon as they started.
They're going to start it up. Would only be Soul Point, not quite the Soul just yet. ZDT trying to see if he can be a bit of a nuisance. Takes a fair chunk of damage onto him. Betty also soaking up a little bit himself. Everyone peppered down about a third or a quarter of their health. Dragon, 5,000 HP. It's going to reset a little bit. TP comes out. And OMG know with that extra summoner available to the side of AL, they just can't take the fight. It's not the Soul just yet, but it does put AL on Soul Point.
Yep, Shenji just getting a little bit caught out when it does come to rotating towards the mid lane, and AL catches this instantly as Sora commits the flash ultimate and gets that, but Cream does get a return onto Pinsy, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. This Baron is going to get stacked up by Cream with his Q.
They're baiting it because they know they can try and catch someone out. There's a flash forward with the Haymaker as they look to try and catch out ZDZ. They will get their man. Betty is hit by the equalizer, but it just kind of brings down the shield and stops any kind of re-engage. Cream taking a fair bit of poke here from the Jace and the saplings of the Maokai, but not going to be falling down just yet. So a little bit of a counter kill coming in here for OMG as they finally take the kill lead. But it's still AL with relative control around this map. No one's really been able to take towers. We haven't actually really talked about it. There's only been 2 towers taken by both sides. This could be the third here by AL. This is not a huge amount. There's a lightning crash. TP going to be coming in. That's going to be Cream trying to find his mark as they do get rumbled down again. Shanji does die. The face shield lands on the 3, and that's going to be a huge team fight win here for the side of OMG. They are chasing back Sword Art and Betty, trying to see if they can get any more kills, which can almost certainly mean that's going to be the Baron.
Cream TB's in and wipes the ball with that ultimate, going to be the Baron for the side of OMG, something that AL was trying to deny, but this double kill going to the hands of OMG, I don't know if AL can stop this.
They're gonna try. Don't forget, you're taking a lot of damage from this Baron. Betty and Sword Art can still make something work. Cream trying to play keep away, goes back to his soul. As ZDZ finally gets himself near this pit, it's gonna be about 1700, 1600 taken away. No steal gonna be coming in here today. ZDZ is trapped in the pit with no one to save him, and he will fall to the side of Aki, who is now 6-1-3 on this Wukong. Cream peeking everyone else at bay. Let's have a look at this replay.
This replay is going to be the first pick of how Xiaohao died in this jungle. ZDZ dying in this jungle as he's having a really tough game. Just no vision at all from the side of AL. Flack is in, tries to trade with Abel, have a really good cleanse from the Lucian, so it's not going to end up in a 1-for-1 trade. But my focus, once again, is just on Cream with this Yone flank as he TP's in with that pink ward on the side. We're going to see it very soon. He lands his ultimate on so many people as AL just tries to force here as they do get their hand on the Shanzi, but they are way too overstepped. Cream finds this, gets a 3-man ultimate, wipes the board with this, and just kills everyone as the Baron is now in the hands of OMG, and they are dominating the map state now.
Slowly but surely, Cream is just becoming a monster right now in this game. Level 17 for him, 2 levels ahead of his counterpart, the highest leveled person on AL, really putting in work right now. With this Baron, we might see a bit more gold fluctuating towards the side of OMG. You're going to have to be very careful how you kind of step this one right now on the side of AL, but it is going to be a tough task because they now find themselves 6,000 gold in the hole.
Yeah, we've been setting up for the longest time. Cream and Aki having a fantastic series to start of this game 1, and this Yone definitely getting a little bit out of control. And this is just back to my first point, where would you rather have a fed Yone or a fed Betty? Well, Zeri isn't going to be able to do too much if Cream is going to find his hands onto the AD carry, and he's already pressuring the side as ZDZ not having the best game with this set. It was a response to the Rumble, but he has been behind in terms of CS for the entire game, and now he did sell. I mean, the Dark Seal did get evened out a little bit. Abel!
Oh, Abel goes forward, and we can see there the Roots pushing in. They are going to have the water pushing everyone back away. The ebb and flow of this team fight is both AD carries are having interesting ways of going in and engaging. It does feel like it's going to be about keeping them on a leash and making sure they don't go too far too fast. Abel and PP God taking a fair chunk of hope there, but Equalizer comes out here, and that's just to kind of stop everyone from clearing out these minions. While that's happening, Aki. Yeah, I mean, look at Aki, 6-1-3. Aki's huge right now in this game, so really hard to really see who anyone could like 1v1 him in that kind of sense. It's Betty. Oh my god. Yes, Abel is not exactly the biggest of carries in the world, but he is still massive in terms of the damage he's putting out.
Yeah, AL is just kind of reacting to how OMG is playing with the 4-1. Aki getting that mid-tier 2 tower down as AL just was too scared to pull the trigger with that 4v5 in the bottom side. Now they're going to reset for this upcoming dragon as they do have complete control of the bottom side. So it's going to be very tough for AL to face check. But once again, I mean, Aki is having the game of his life. He is doing fantastic on this Wukong. Although getting focused down once by AL, I mean, this Wukong is just getting so much done on the map. And it's really nice to see that Aki has been improving lots in the recent weeks.
Yeah, it really does feel like Aki and Cream have come into their own, and having the flexibility in your top side that we have seen from OMG has been honestly fantastic. They're not playing towards the meta, not that they can't, but they are choosing to play their own style. They are choosing to throw a kind of a spanner in the works, and it is working relatively for them. I do gotta give credit where credit is due, and right now they are taking it slow and steady. It's a 32-minute game so far. Not a lot of towers have been taken. In fact, only 2 of the inners on the side of AL have been destroyed. And with 2 dragons to 3, we aren't going to see the Dragon Soul for at least another 4.5 minutes, and Baron's up in 2 minutes, so we're going to get to really big item spikes right now. 3 items onto Aki, has the GA available to him, so he can be even more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the items available for OMG, Mikhail's also going to get picked up for PP God, but that QSS in the hands of Cream, he is just going to become extra unstoppable as AL really just preying on the CC landing onto the enemy and hoping they can play front to back. But with this Yone having so much gap closer, I mean, it's going to be really tough, and Betty has to play perfectly for the next upcoming fight, which is going to be Baron.
We're waiting to see. Gonna have Aki use his clone to make sure nobody can come in. Actually gonna have to invest the equalizer as well, but you can see on the top left of your screen that is speed running itself back into a cooldown that he can use. So not really the biggest of investments used there by the side of OMG. And AL still looking to try and catch somebody out. They need decent poke, and you gotta feel like it's gotta come from the poke that they land, and then just a really solid engage from Sword Art. But he doesn't have flash until basically this Baron spawns, so he's not really in a position to make anything happen beforehand.
Yeah, OMG already getting that vision set down for this Baron, which is going to be spawning in 30 seconds. We really need to focus down on just how Betty plays this fight, as he doesn't have the cleanse available. A lot of CC from OMG as well, as Abel does pop the ultimate here.
Yeah, comboed up with the equalizer, and you can see with Betty not able to be as aggressive. CDZ nearly gets taken away from this fight, but does keep himself alive, has the Haymaker available. PinZ actually had to flash, would you believe, on the side there. So not really ideal situations for AL as OMG start to turn up the heat. They're turning up the pressure right now onto AL, and AL are going to have to rely a lot on Betty. It's going to come down to him to really make this one work for him and his team.
Yeah, Cream is also consistently pressuring this top side. I mean, there's just no one that can match him in a 1v1 right now. So Sword Art really needs to find an angle with that flash available onto a straggler when it does come to the Baron, as it does look like OMG are going to reset here to pick up some extra items, as Abel is also going to pick up something like that. What is he building here? BT, also LDR?
Yes.
He sold it.
No, I think
he bought Serrated.
No.
Serrated.
Serrated, yes. Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Get a little bit of lethality there. I'm trying to, like, wrap my head around it a little bit, but Serralda's Grudge is still a pretty decent kind of item spike. Will put a lot of damage on the Betty, and you can see in the way that he's kind of pushing forward. Abel is just focusing on Betty. Betty is the only one he's really worried about.
Yeah, Betty is definitely all eyes on him for now on, but PinZ, we still need to remember that he has a lot of poke, but you are up against someone like Cream with that Immortal Shield and BT in his hands, and now Abel also having that Vamp Scepter in his pockets as well, so you have to act fast, as Betty also getting that Mortal Reminder online as well, as there's just so much healing from OMG. There is going to be a ward that is going to get taken out by Cream here. They do have a sneaky ward that does spot them starting the Baron here.
A sneaky ward, but that doesn't stop Cream from going completely all out there with the Fate Sealed. Even Xiaohao trying to get anywhere near this pit wouldn't even really make a difference, so has to just throw out his ultimate in desperation, it feels like, and now he has to flash away as the rest of OMG gotta say, we know you're here, we have a ward on you, sir. And that's Baron going over the side of OMG. They got resets in, they're going to get themselves back onto the map, but they should be able to contest for this Dragon. As I say that, they are being a little bit greedy, shall we say, or a little bit maybe innovative and saying, look, we got time with this Baron recall. We can go for this top turret first.
OMG getting a little bit too greedy with this play, as AL has picked up on this, forcing the TPs out. Not everyone has
these are Baron up recalls. I don't know. Aki is still here.
They found
He's going to
him.
try and maybe get him. They found him, but he does have a GA, a flash in to get the stun down, but there's no real damage follow-up. They know they kill Aki. They know there's no real contest, so Aki is the focus. Aki will be going down to the GA, but can they finish him off? That is a question. Speaking of finishing off, look at the mini-map. You've got the Cream pushing in the mid lane. Yes, you get the Dragon, but are you going to be able to defend your base? You got to be able to. You're being pulled in too many sides.
Got the jungler of OMG, but what does that mean? Your inhibitor from mid lane is getting attacked right now, as OMG regained their vision control onto this Dragon, where it was the soul for AL, but they gave that up for Aki. However, they don't have the smite available.
Oh my god! That was so much immediate burst damage there. ZDZ, he has to flash away. Cream does not get his fate sealed, but already we can see plenty of summoners being burned. Betty jumping in very aggressively as they're going to try and make this one work. They're jumping on the Cream as Betty goes over the wall. He's 1v3. He flashes and he gets the shutdown. Betty keeping his team alive as AL want to stall for as long as they possibly can. Shanji doesn't die just yet, but he has lost all his summoners. You can't really contest this, but maybe Abel's looking for it. ZDZ taking a lot of damage right now. Doesn't have the Haymaker, doesn't have Flash. Shanji maybe over the wall. ZDZ goes golden. Betty nearly gets taken out. Does lose his Immortal Shield Bow. There's the equalizer on the pin C. As ZDZ goes forward, they finally get the Mountain Soul. And that's all they really wanted. Nothing else can go down, but AL get their prize.
AL planned this by picking up Aki from that straggler being in the top side. They were able to secure the Dragon Soul, but this fight was so messy as it does get engaged from the side of Abel, but TP's coming in. They do have the numbers advantage. Cream's ultimate misses here, and that is so crucial, and that just allows Betty to do whatever he wants in this team fight. Getting the CC onto him as well, with the QSS was used badly, and it stops his jump over as well, and Betty just cleans him up here as he just has way too much healing. Picks up 1,000 gold into his pockets, and Abel extremely low, not enough to fight once again. Shandy didn't have that ultimate available either. He did drop it at the very end, but it wasn't enough, and Dragon Soul now in the hands of AL.
I was wondering why he wasn't able to get over that wall, but the Bramble Smash just knocking him back, and that's Mountain Soul now for AL. It is equaled in terms of the resistances you're getting, but that extra little bit of shielding is incredibly significant, especially when you're dealing with the burst of something like this Lucian. So right now it is a nice thing, a silver lining to have for AL. It is definitely not going to turn the tide of where they are at in terms of the gold difference. 8,000 in favor of OMG, and already we can see Abel pushing forward, looking to try and maybe catch out Betty just a little bit, but with only having really your Aki as your engaged, it's going to be difficult to really catch out ALs. We go full ARAM right now, Kitty.
Yeah, Betty doesn't have that flash available, however, he needs to play very carefully as Cream did pick up his GA from the previous fight, so you have to kill him twice. Kinsey also trying to get some poke onto Abel as he's really struggling. I mean, 0, 1, and 7 to support Lucian for this game 1. Still getting a lot of damage down, however, with that Serelda's in his hands. I mean, he really desperately needs that lifesteal online up against someone like the Jace at 40 minutes in this game. We had a very slow start, and it's extremely messy, but it could go either way, Oshin.
Wait and see. This is the kind of game right now, Kitty, that can just be a flip, can just turn into one of those moments where the previous 40 minutes did not matter, and we are coming into potential longest game of the split territory. I believe the longest game of the split belongs to LGD and NIP.
Yes,
I think it was like 51 minutes or something like that.
50 minutes.
Yeah,
Still quite
50,
far
51,
away.
somewhere around there. Yeah, so well, it's a relative number depending on where we go. The Baron doesn't really help OMG or honestly AL in any kind of sense right now. Everyone's just kind of too short range. There's no real objectives taken. It does feel like we are waiting until that next Elder Drake where it's going to be the big fight, but then the question becomes where and when do you actually take that fight. GA is going to be coming up in a few moments here for Aki, so he's going to be feeling a little bit better about potentially going for a fight there. GA has been picked up and finished off here for the Yone as well. As we're starting to hit full items across the board. Bow 80 carries fully set up. No stopwatch this time around though for ZDZ, and that could be important, so we'll wait to see where everyone wants to go. Cream on the side lane, just being a nuisance, pushing in. He's going to go towards that Mercurial Scimitar, and that's going to be his next real kind of only last completion he's got left for him.
Yeah, the problem with AL right now, it's going to be so tough trying to force a Baron as you don't have anyone that faces off up against Cream in a 1v1 duel. But you look at the enemy team composition, they have a Wukong and a Rumble. So even if you do force a 4v5, I mean, they just have so much engage and CC in terms of AoE. So they're putting on a ticking time bomb as the Baron is going to be spawning in 15 seconds. Cream did back, however. It does look like there are going to be an ARAM fight for this Baron.
We'll wait. We shall wait and see where it all goes. I love how aggressive these AD carries are having to play right now because they are not only the wave clear, but also the damage in terms of the burst onto each other.
Aki?
So for Betty and Aki goes in. Flashes, tries like something work here. Double Cyclone, not really going to get a lot for him. He ends up getting the equalizer to try and save him out. ZDZ should be going down here despite his best efforts. And now Aki follows in suit. But you're the jungler, Aki. You're the more important piece, in my opinion. As Xiaohao takes a peppering from the culling. Minions still going to be steaming in towards this mid lane as Shanji takes a fair chunk himself. Betty uses the lightning crash as Cream gets his QSS off, and he's going to be able to back himself up away from this fight. So you've lost a big engage tool now from both sides. The Tibbers and the Cyclone both down. And both mid lanes have been dealt with. Z not really able to make it. Betty is losing a fair bit of mana right now. Needs to be maybe a little bit more sparing with his W's, but everyone just kind of backs themselves away. Both teams on opposite sides just covering off the minion waves that are trying to move forward. Timber's doing great right now, but there's a great ultimate. The equalizer forcing a flash away by Xiaohao. No one goes down just yet. Abel and Betty just trying to pepper each other down. The both teams disengage.
Two major ultimates burnt from the side of OMG. Not having that smite and your jungle available, they are just going to start this as ZDZ forces the TP. OMG not having the rumble, I mean, they just look like they're going to finish this Baron.
They are going to finish it off. Baron gets completed as they do have the Maokai ultimate coming in, but 25 seconds until the Elder Drake spawns. As I said, the Baron's not going to be the big one. The Elder Drake is. That is a game ender right now. If Abel can pick up this blue buff, he's already on full build, so he does not need to go back. You're going to see a TP coming in. It's going to be Pin Z and the rest of AL barreling in towards this bot side. This could be it, Katie. They're looking to see if they can make this one work. Fate Sealed still on cooldown. ZDZ flashes in. Haymaker in. Trying to see if he can catch out Shanji, who does have a stopwatch. They're trying to get him down. They will. Flash by Abel. And AL might have been able to do it. Betty goes forward. And Betty is finding the kills. He does not care about the Monkey King. And he picks himself up a Quadra. Blink and you'll miss it. AL find the ace.
AL comes back from this game, a 6k gold deficit. Cream struggling to find his hands onto Betty, and he is getting absolutely out of control. They're just going to end the game as the time is 40 seconds, Oshin. It's insane that AL can come back in this game.
Insane right now. They've got Elder. They haven't even got Elder. They've got Baron. They didn't need the Elder. They just took a much better fight. And AL will take game one in 45 minutes. It was a slog, it was slow, and it definitely looked like it wasn't going to be, but they found the engage, and ZDZ made the set work because he kept everyone away from Betty.
ZDZ definitely acting in as that decoy while Betty was just killing everyone on the side of OMG, and Cream definitely struggling to find angles with that ultimate. But oh my god, Zeri moment to say the least, as we are just seeing another Zeri highlight coming into this game one.
Absolutely, really well played. And Betty, again, it's been one of his most picked champions so far this split. It really does feel like this is something he has accepted.